I'm thinking we're going to make a camper for the C-10 SCX24 because we can. Yeah. Hi everybody, Mike here with Cactus Crawlers RC, and this is the SCX24 C-10 Chevy I picked up recently. I've done one video on it on the backyard course. I really like this truck as is. I don't want to do any modifications to it. I want to leave it as stock. I was thinking that I would like to accessorize it, and one of the things that this truck reminds me of is a camping truck. So I want to make a camper shell for the back of this truck. And I'm not thinking of, just the little camper shell that would go and cover up the bed. I'm talking about a camper. I want a camper with the over the cab bed area that comes out over the back of the tailgate. I'm talking a big old camper. But my idea is to make it out of Dollar Tree foam board. Dollar Tree foam board is really lightweight, and the origami style of building with foam board, as seen on Flite Test. If any of you have flown airplanes and you may be familiar with the crew at Flite Test, they have perfected taking flat sheets of foam board and cutting them and folding them and gluing them with hot glue in a way to make a strong structure for an aircraft. I'm not building an aircraft. It doesn't have to be super strong like Flite Test does. It's just going to be basically a box on the back of this. We're going to put a camper on the SCX24 Chevy C-10. Let's get to it. The first thing I did was I took measurements and I drew up a profile of what this camper is going to look like. So if you could see here, what we're looking at is pretty much the cab over portion right here. This is where it's going to sit on top of the bed, and then the part that goes behind the tailgate right here. And the rest of it is just pretty much just a big square block that's going to sit on there. One thing to keep in mind when I'm doing this is that the body of the C-10 has these little supports that go between the bed and the cab right here, these little triangles. And when I'm making the camper shell, I'm going to have to remember that I'll have to be on one side with the outer part of the shell, and then I'll have to have a notch that this will fit into, because I want the inside of the camper shell to rest on this ledge and inside the bed around this ledge too. So that's my plan anyway. We'll see how it goes out as we come along. So my first step is going to be to cut out this template and see how it fits up against the truck to see if the dimensions I'm looking for are just right. Okay, now that I've got the profile all trimmed out, let's put it up against the truck and see how it's going to fit. So here I have the pattern for the camper all drawn up on the foam board. This is foam board here. And as you could see, this will be the floor in between the two halves, or the two different sides. This line right here is not going to get cut all the way through, and this dotted line right here is going to be the same thing. It's going to not get cut all the way through, and then the area in between these two cuts, the foam board is going to be peeled away and pulled out. And so that way when the sides are folded upwards, the sides of this foam board are going to go up against the body down here on the lower portion. So the foam board is about 4 millimeters thick, and so we have about 4 millimeters of distance in here. So as all this gets cut and removed, then I can lay a bead of hot glue down in there and then fold it up, and then it will glue up against the side of the other part on each side. So my next step is going to be to cut all this out and start cutting and trimming, get out the hot glue gun, and start putting it together. Okay, I have the foam board all trimmed out, and I have all the score cuts already cut open. So the way this is going to work is these two sides right here, I'm going to, and I have them cut all the way through here on each side, so that's going to fold out, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bend and fold these guys backwards. There's one side. And there's the other side. So those are folded backwards. Now, what I need to do is I need to get these pieces of foam removed on each side, because that's where the folded in part's going to sit. So once again, I'll close this back where it goes, and now I'm going to fold the inside backwards. And it'd help if I go to the edge of the table. So pardon me if it's not in the shot. Okay, now you can see that that's all folded back like this, and now I could reach in here and I could remove that foam from in between. And same on here. There you go, and we'll do the same to the other side. Okay, so now I'll be able to put the hot glue inside these grooves, and then when I go to bend this back over, it will fit up in there and glue to the sides of that, and we'll have our basic shape of the camper there. Okay. So, moving on to these two sections here, which are going to fit inside here, going up and then going over. So, because we have one cut here and one cut there. Now, that cut is just fine as it is, being in that L shape, but here, it's got to bend the other way. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this back. We're going to do a couple of 45-degree cuts at an angle in the foam on both sides, and then that way when it folds up, then it'll fit into a 90. So here's how we're going to do that. Now, if you end up going through the center of the paper, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. You could throw a piece of tape in there, and once you hot glue it, then it's going to seal it up anyway. So again, on this side, another 45-degree cut. And if you're not comfortable using razor blades to do this, you can also do it with a sanding block with sanding paper. So now, what we have is we'll be able to put the sides up like that. We'll be able to do our shape right there, and that will fit right up. And it should. If we had a little bit more of an angle of a cut, we'll have to cut a little bit more on that angle because it's not enough. like that. Now we'll put the sides back up like that. And now we'll fit that right in there, bingo, just like that.